Is that a landmine you should avoid using a family member as your real estate agent? Let us know. Drop it in the comments below.
And if you use a family member, say yes or no in the comments.
Oil and water don't mix, and neither do family members as your real estate agents. According to Dave Ramsey, he gave a warning, and he said that if you use a family member as your real estate agent, you'll be screwed.
It's like oil and water. They don't mix.
Is Dave Ramsey making enemies here?
I've never used a family member to be a real estate agent.
So you wouldn't know.
Well, I guess I have. Maybe I've used you. You've been my real estate agent. And I've been yours.
How did that work out?
It worked out okay.
It worked out great.
What about you? Do you work with family?
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
I've definitely helped sell several of my aunts. I can think of aunts.
Do they still talk to you?
Yeah, they were all good.
No snafus?
Yeah, and I mean, fortunately, I was very experienced at that time. By the time they started doing certain things, because my aunt was investing and things like that. But I've actually, I could think of ones that some other things maybe didn't go great. And because I'm really searching back in memory bank, one of them being like an investment property that I was involved in, and things didn't go the way that as planned. One with my.
That's why it's called investing. You know,
It
doesn't always go as planned.
It doesn't.
But not everybody goes into it with the same mindset.
Yeah, they come in it's a no-brainer. We're gonna win, right?
Of
Well,
course.
and especially when they're doing it, they're joining in after you already have this very long track record of success, and then all of a sudden, of course, one doesn't go, as planned. That wasn't terrible, but yeah,
It was the moldy gate.
it was like a moldy gate.
The moldy gate. Well, so I guess someone called into his recent radio show and asked if they should use their newly licensed mother-in-law as their real estate agent to sell their home. And Ramsey strongly advised against it, bluntly telling the caller, "You're going to get screwed." Wow. And I think that there's mixed emotions on this because, the reality is like if you line up 10 realtors, you could pick one and get screwed. That's the reality.
100%.
Yeah,
They're not all the same.
Right. They're not all created equal.
Yeah.
And so I think that I think that you could say that about any real estate agent, but
Well, do you trust your family member?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, mostly do. And I trust using my family members. Most of them.
I think that if you have a good realtor and they're your family member, it's actually better because they're going to work harder for you and for a good outcome.
Yeah, I hate to say going back to the experience thing, but I mean, it's real, right? Like that's the one thing that when you get your real estate license, the true experience comes from the experience of doing it. It's not passing the test and learning what meets and bounds and ingress and egress and all of the silly things that they require you to learn. I'm a big believer of within real estate, we should be required. There should be a required apprenticeship. If they made that happen, the actual practices, the amount of lawsuits, all of those things would shrink substantially.
I mean, it kind of is required, right? I mean, you're supposed to have a broker that is
Supervising
you,
Yeah.
but doesn't always happen. But he also did. I wonder if the question was like, if should I use my 20-year licensed mother-in-law that's sold hundreds of homes? He probably would say, yeah, why not? Yeah.
Right.
But newly licensed mother-in-law?
Yeah. I think that the home buying process is emotional.
Very
And
much.
sometimes, they talk about that, the awkward power dynamics, the emotional landmines, the lack of, maybe accountability that could happen if it's family. Maybe you feel like if it's family, you don't have to do all of the things that you would do if it was like a client that you didn't know.
Yeah, well, and I mean, I think that there's nothing wrong with interviewing a couple people. And sometimes that, there's a lot of people that they feel like they're related to this person and they know that the person is licensed, so therefore they should just get the job.
Yeah.
Right?
So sometimes if you didn't use your family member, now you ruin the relationship that way too, because they get really mad and think, oh, you don't trust me. And
But I can think of many circumstances.
Lots of landmines.
There are, but I know that, I mean, I can remember many clients that we've had that had a family member that was licensed and was a good realtor, but they didn't want to use them because they didn't want them knowing their financials.
Yes.
And it was, and like, what's the interesting thing about that is like, they don't necessarily need to know your financials because if you're working with a lender, you can, share your financials with the lender, get all your ducks in a row. And so you don't necessarily need to let your agent in on your financials.
Well, maybe they don't want to know that they refinanced a couple years ago and
Exactly.
they took out $150,000 or something.
Yeah.
I mean, because an agent would know that if they know the payoff. Right?
There's an HOA or a credit card lien or something that
Tax
is
lien,
attached.
There's a HOA lien because you didn't take your Christmas lights down and you were warned and and you were stubborn.
You
And
didn't keep your weeds, at the 6 inch or less, ruler.